All right, everybody, there is downtown Cleveland, and we have some snow pellets mixing in with a little bit of low cloud cover. And you're not looking at snow at this point so far, but at least the report from the front yard from our wonderful Frank Masek is that he thought he had some ice pellets mixing in. But we do have snow that is now coming down in parts of Northeast Ohio as our winter storm is really getting underway now. The big picture, you can definitely see where the rain is still coming through, but that cold front is sinking slow and it is on the move now on shore in Cleveland. And, you know, the big picture is one that is just so impressive, especially this second wave. Beware the second wave. You're going to hear me say that a lot tonight, and we're probably going to say it tomorrow morning too, because this thing is just getting started and we will not be done with the snow. We won't be done with the storm until this gets past us. We have a long way to go, but I do want to zoom in a little bit because this has been fantastic just to watch here. That you can see here in the Ohio Valley that line is very quickly now starting to move into the I-71 corridor, and it's going to continue to move eastbound as we go through the next couple of hours here. A lot of snow on the ground already being reported in Toledo. That changeover had just taken place at 5 o'clock, and we are definitely seeing that the changeover is starting to have more of an impact. There's the cold front. On the surface, it is probably just east of Cleveland now. We had kind of the lowering of the cloud deck. That's a sign that we've had the winds come in off of the lake. And that cold front stretches all the way back down here into southwest Arkansas and then through Texas. This is the second wave, so we have to wait for that. Again, that's kind of the second part of this system. But what we have right now is the first part, and we are still dealing with this winter storm warning, and it is for all of Ohio, not just Northeast Ohio. But here in Northeast Ohio, our part of the huge winter storm warning goes all the way through Friday morning. So let's get into some of these details. Our close-up radar view for you. It is now down to 30 in Port Clinton, 31 in Elyria. 2 hours ago, Elyria was 39 degrees. That's a big drop in 2 hours. And that is that cold wind starting to come in. 36 now, Worcester, 34 on the east side at the Cuyahoga County Airport. The other thing to note, there's a bunch of different cool things happening here on the radar. But the really neat thing, and I wonder if I could do this and get rid of the numbers real quick, because this is kind of cool. Ah, there it is. You see all the yellows here. So one thing to note is that there are yellows to the west of us. And if you saw us at 5, 6, and 7, I kept saying that the yellow was actually what's known as bright banding. So it's very wet snowflakes that are falling. And that is very close to where we have that changeover taking place. I called my folks, they live out west, and they said, gosh, the rain came down real hard and then all of a sudden it switched to snow. There we go. So we have that bright banding taking place. But the other thing that's kind of cool is that notice that this is in a little bit of a ring. And so when you look at a radar, remember the radar beam goes out at a 1/2 degree tilt. It doesn't sound like a lot, but remember the Earth is kind of sloping away from it. So we're aiming up higher into the atmosphere, and we're up at, a couple thousand feet here maybe. And this is where the radar is picking up the wet snowflakes. So it's warm at the surface, and then it's starting to cool off aloft. And that is a key part of our forecast, because it's that cold air that will continue to lower and ultimately change all of this over to some snow. And we're going to continue that through the day tomorrow. Visibility has been coming down. Peyton was watching this for me earlier and noticed that these visibilities have really dropped. These were up at like 8 miles earlier. Now they're down to 1.5 miles in Elyria, now 5 miles in downtown Cleveland, but that will be dropping as we start to see this changeover taking place. Toledo got the snow change first. We were kind of showing this off at 5 and 6 and 7, and it had just changed over and they got kind of a sloppy initial accumulation. Well, the snow is still coming down, and you can see that they are definitely covered in snow there. Meanwhile, Bowling Green, Isaac Izumba, has the snow coming down as well. And it's probably a little bit of a mix at this point. It's definitely sticking to the ODOT cam there. Port Clinton, the Edison Bridge. We showed you this one too, and it had just started to stick in the berms. Now we can see just barely some tracks out there, and if a car would come along, there's one over there, but if a car comes along and illuminates this with the headlights, you can actually see that it's a couple inches of snow that has fallen, and this had just started at 5 o'clock. So we've been keeping a very close eye on those road cams. We'll take a little trip around Northeast Ohio now. In Ashland, the roads are still wet at this point, still water there, but in Lorain, this is I-90 at Murray Ridge. Notice here, this is snow that is starting to accumulate on the highway. So I-90, we are getting these snow showers that are coming down in Lorain. Downtown Cleveland, at this point, what we're seeing is still water, but we're starting to get some mix coming in here. And the key point that I keep trying to make to everybody is that what differentiates this storm from the last one? The last one had all snow. It was very fluffy and we got lots of it. This one, we have had rain. And now the temperatures are going to be crashing. And I am very concerned about a flash freeze. All this water and all the slush that the water is creating will freeze solid as the temperatures drop tonight. So tomorrow morning, we will have a slick of ice underneath the snow accumulation that we will be getting in the overnight hours. And that's not just Cleveland, that's all of Northeast Ohio. Now that we are getting the changeover, the road crews are going to start salting. They won't salt while it's raining because it's pointless, it just washes away. But now that we have that changeover, there's this little sweet spot in the timing that they can lay some salt down and hopefully try to stay ahead of that ice accumulation tonight. So ODOT, props to you guys and all of our local road crews, because you definitely have a lot on your plate over the next 24 hours. There's all the wet roads you see down there in Akron. You folks will probably see the changeover in a few hours, maybe about 10 o'clock or so. New Philadelphia, the fog is there, but we don't really have any signs that it is snowing as of yet. But overall, now that the sun has set, the atmosphere begins to cool, and that kind of sets us up to get this moving along at a better clip than it was earlier today. It was really slow to change over in western Ohio earlier this evening. Youngstown, you will be among the latest of all Northeast Ohio to see that changeover, and that'll probably be over toward the early part of the day tomorrow.